Hey guys, this quick video is going to show you two modeling techniques that will really open the doors for what you can make next in Blender. There's an object that we haven't added yet to our scene, and it's a special object called a metaball. The way you bring up a metaball is the same way as you would get any of your other primitives. You're going to do Shift A, and down below Mesh, you'll see this thing called a metaball. Okay, and they come in different shapes, but we're going to start with just the ball shape. And I'll move this out of the way and zoom in on it with my period key there. And if you notice, this thing's kind of weird. It's a gooey jelly ball surrounded by a little aura around it. And the thing you can do with metaballs is that as you duplicate them, they want to stick together. They're sticky. And so you can use them to build up organic shapes that you can use to model things like trees and bushes and clouds. Here's how they work, okay? I've got my first metaball. I'm going to do Shift D, and I'm just going to drag a metaball to the side. And look at what happens. It wants to grab its neighbor using that little aura next to it. When the auras cross over, they latch onto each other, and it makes a new shape, okay? So what I'm going to do is model a quick cloud here. I'm going to do Shift D again, and we'll add a few of these. I can scale one of them if I want it bigger. Shift D. We'll bring one up here. Shift D. We'll bring one over here. We'll scale it. You can see I'm making kind of a big gooey mess here. Then we'll do Shift D and we'll pull one out to the front, and Shift D and we'll pull another one out to the back. And that is kind of a little Mario Brothers cloud shape, okay? Now, when you're done pulling them out, they actually become one main object. So what we're going to do is drag and select all of these metaballs. You can see I've got them selected here in my object list. And I'm going to right click and convert them to a mesh. And now they're all joined together. Okay, they're not separate metaballs. If I tab into edit mode, you can see that they've got really complex geometry, and they have a smooth surface, which is kind of what we're going for this object. If I were going to make, something like a tree, I might combine a few of these with a cylinder. So I could do Shift A, add a cylinder, and we'll bring this over and we'll pull it up. Okay, and I'll zoom in here. I'm going to scale this in the Z direction to make like a tree trunk, and we'll stick that right on the bottom there. And then maybe for the bottom of the tree trunk, I'll go into edit mode and I'll just scale this out a little bit so it's got a bit of a curve to it. And if you need more of these, you can always duplicate them on. You can position them, you can rotate them, and use your move tools to kind of create a little organic shape, okay? Digital artists use metaballs to make all kinds of organic shapes. Like I said, trees, clouds, bushes. You can even model basic creatures here. Like if you wanted to model a dog, you could pull one of these out and then give it legs and a neck and start to sculpt it into something that becomes a realistic shape, okay? So let's take this guy here. I'm just going to group them all together into one object. And over in this, we'll name it tree, and we'll move it off to the side. Okay? The other thing I wanted to show you how to do is you guys will be finishing up your basic objects today. So you'll have your bricks and your question box and your coins and all of those objects you're going to need to build your world. Now, instead of recreating those every time we need a new one, we're going to use something called an asset library. And this is how it works. We go down to this bottom screen, right? This is actually movable. You can click on it and pull it up. And right now it's on our timeline, which is for animation. We'll get to that later in the course. But if you click on this icon right here, we can switch to the asset browser, okay? And for asset browser, what we're going to do is put it on the current file. And I don't have any assets yet, but up here I've got all the different objects that make up my my world, okay? Now I'm going to store these in this library. And the way that you do it is you just click on that object, you go to Object, Asset, Mark as Asset. And you see it drops it into your library as a brick block, okay? Let's do the same for our pipe. Object, Asset, Mark as Asset. Take this, Object, Asset, Mark as Asset, and we'll get the coin, mark as asset, and I'll even put the tree in there. Okay, let's go object,
I'm just checking if I have a
asset, mark as asset. Okay, so now they're all down here in my library. Okay, and the reason that this is helpful is as I start to go in and build my Mario world, what I can do is just drag these right from the library onto my world. So watch this. If I bring my brick block over and I drop it in, there's one. Okay, if I put another one, there's two. My Minecraft players, you guys are going to kind of enjoy this because it's going to start to feel just like you're building a world out there. I would recommend when you do this, use your view keys so that you can see this from up above and start to drop these in. If you're looking at it from a straight on angle, it's definitely easier than if you're just trying to place them and guess where they're going, right? Let's rotate it this way. We'll put a pipe, boop, right there. We'll put a mystery block over here, and this would be how I would construct my world. Okay, so asset libraries are super useful because designers can build all the things that are going to possibly be in that level and then just move them around and build out the world very, very quickly. One recommendation there, make sure that you've added your colors and materials to these before you put them in your asset library. Otherwise, you'll have to color them one by one. But you'll see that in the previous video on how to add materials. Okay, have fun with that, guys, and let's see what you can build.